out there. Eric was enrolled at the Nantahala School. See, I can't even do it like you.
Nantahala.
In Florida, people described Eric as an energetic kid. He was curious, inquisitive, and a walker. Like, he was always seeking adventure.
So he's always outside.
He loved the ocean and was always participating in some sort of water activities, swimming, snorkeling, fishing, surfing, all the things you would do, if you lived by the ocean. As a youth, he had been a baseball player, very naturally athletic, so much so that his coach believed Eric could play college baseball. The coach had connections at Miami University and encouraged Eric to pursue the sport so he could maybe one day be on the team there. Eric's last high school in Florida had been in Homestead. In interviews, his mother recalls it being the first time Eric ran into serious problems in school. He was the minority in a mostly black and Hispanic school, where she claims he was beat up and bullied. She admits during this time Eric started to have some racist views.
Uh-oh.
As a mother, she let her kids think for themselves. So she didn't intervene or sway Eric from his racist beliefs. She thought it was something he would grow out of, or maybe something he just needed to experience for himself. Again, she's pretending it's, I let my kids think for themselves, and we're trying to be open-minded here, but at the end of the day, it's almost to a detriment, because we're going to see what comes from this.
Well, yeah, to my kids, I'd be like, look, that group of people, they're assholes. That's bad what you're going through, but you can't write off a whole damn race.
There's assholes everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, you just have to intervene as a parent and be like, you're having problems with, a small group of people. That doesn't mean that the entire race is bad.
She's basically just setting him up for this bigger problem. It's to his detriment, rather than making him a free thinker.
Right.
Yeah. In North Carolina, things changed for Eric. Nantahala is an incredibly small rural school, and he stopped playing baseball, but he did continue his love for the outdoors. While at the Nantahala school, Eric and his brothers refused to give their social security numbers, stating they did not believe in them. At one point, Eric wrote a paper for class denying the Holocaust.
Oh, hello.
Who are these fucking people? He used a pamphlet belonging to his mother as a resource.
Okay. So, yeah, that probably happened, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he's getting this information from.
I don't know. If you're a Holocaust denier and you're listening to this, just come over here, because I'm going to punch you in your wiener. And even if you don't have a wiener, I'm going to punch you in where your wiener would be.
Yeah, I think there's
Those people are just fucking nuts.
Way too many witnesses and everybody that saw all the stuff, like entire continents of people.
I have some strong feelings about people who get on the soapbox about, like, the Holocaust didn't happen.
Yeah.
Those people are trash. Okay. Anyway.
Right.
He didn't want to have his picture taken. And then when the yearbooks came out, he refused to sign anyone's yearbook because, get this, he said he didn't want the government to have a copy of his signature that they could use against him one day.
Because the entire government's out to get Eric Rudolph.
Yeah.
So,
what kind of kid, think about a 9th grader
who's already in this mindset.
14, 15 years old that thinks this way?
He won't give his social security number because he believes he's being tracked by it and he doesn't believe in it at all. I'm going to guess that he shares his mom's belief that the government can cure cancer and could have saved his dad, even though his dad openly denied any available treatment.
Right.
For holistic treatments. And then, and he's afraid the government could track him.
Through a yearbook signature?
Is afraid to sign a yearbook. So this is a mindset in a very young person that is pretty extreme.
Some fucking paranoia.
It really is.
Because your little, have a nice summer, love Eric message is probably, how's that going to be used against you?
I'm going to guess that the government doesn't give a fuck about that. But that's all he can think about.
See you next year.
He doesn't want any hard copies. No hard copies, Joe.
He dropped out after the 9th grade and went on to get his GED. Now, during this period, after dropping out, he befriended a neighbor, an older man named Thomas Wayne Braham, who became somewhat of a father figure to Eric. He taught him fishing, showed him the best fishing holes along the Nantahala River, and survivalist skills. Eric became enamored with Brahm's rustic lifestyle and the beauty of the Appalachian Mountains. Eric palled around with the Braham boys. Apparently, Braham had a couple of sons within the same, age range. Community members recalled the boys making homemade explosives and that they liked blowing shit up.
Cool.
Well, it does sort of sound fun.
Well, yeah, to a degree.
Tom Braham was a man of radical politics who considered himself to be a free man.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning that he was free of the confines of state and federal law.
Huh.
He was a prepper and truly believed there was an impending revolution between the forces of good and evil, taking an almost apocalyptic, ultra-conservative view over the years.
Yeah, that's healthy. Hey, but in the same vein of that, it does not take a lot for our society to break down. I mean, honestly, Katrina took them 3 days to get ice down there. I mean, so I guess what I'm trying to say is there's kind of things you see along the way that kind of reinforce these extremist views. That it doesn't take a lot for, if you're in an urban environment, for the food system to break down. Or for, these various things, the power grid could fail at any moment because it's 100 years old. Things like that,
Or the zombie apocalypse.
Well, no, the zombie apocalypse
could be upon us. I mean, I feel like The Walking Dead really, had people thinking about prepping.
Well, Ruby...
I find preppers to be very interesting.
They
just
are.
In general. And I understand, wanting to be a prepper and maybe even believing, okay, the system could break down. We might have to really...
It doesn't take a lot.
Rearrange the way we live.
Right.
But this impending, fight between good and evil.
Right.
I mean, I'm just dude, come on.
Yeah, calm down with that. I think everyone should have 2 to 3 weeks of supplies on them because it really could be a hiccup in our system.
Are we going to start stockpiling MREs?
No, but maybe some beans and water, right? Just a little bit. But then, I mean, these people
Dylan's just stockpiling beer?
You got to have some cases.
He's like, honey, I got this storage building and I filled it full of craft beer for us.
But, these people go along the way and they do see little hiccups in our society that I think reinforce their viewpoint. And then you take, the government's coming to kill you. And then you have Ruby Ridge, Waco, all these these examples of when the government handled it very poorly. And it did look kind of like the government was coming to take your guns or, disrupt your family.
Take your 50 pounds of beans that you have in your basement?
Well, yeah, just leave my beans, man.
Well, Braham stockpiled foods, weapons, and books. Among those books were many Nazi books.
Oh, gosh.
This is when Eric was introduced to Nazism and anti-Semitic beliefs.
So he's going to throw down...
Although it seems like he had some of that at home.
Yeah, let's be honest.
But I guess he attributes those beliefs to his time hanging out with Braham.
Well, I think possibly I'm totally speculating. Possibly that's just reinforcing some things he has some elements of. Because any parents that's just he was a minority at school and, somebody beat him up. Now he's a racist. I mean, come on.
Oh, by the way, here's my Holocaust denier pamphlet that you should totally use for a resource and bibliography for your fucking paper that you're writing for the 9th grade.
Yeah, so let's be honest. Maybe all that didn't come outside of his home.
Braham was sued, and this is pretty funny, by the Heinz company, as in Heinz ketchup.
Okay.
For forging coupons.
How does that work?
I don't know all the details, but can you imagine forging enough ketchup coupons that you get sued by the fucking Heinz company?
That's a lot of...
What are you doing with all that fucking ketchup? Are you stockpiling it? What is he, a first grader?
That's a lot of 25 cents off a bottle of Heinz ketchup.
Fucking lot of 6-year-olds out there would be happy because they love to eat ketchup on everything.
So he's done that to such a degree, the actual company, Heinz, brought a suit against him.
Yes.
Okay.
Sued him.
I don't even know how you do that.
It was during this investigation that the ATF got involved and executed a search warrant on Braham's property, where they seized parts of a machine gun, blasting caps, dynamite, and other bomb-making materials. Braham was not home during the search, but Eric came over to watch the proceedings. Eric had to be removed from the property for referring to agents as Soviet Union troops.
Oh, wow.
Pat Rudolph posted Braham's bail. Eventually, the pair would have a falling out, but not before Pat and young Eric attended Braham's hearings in federal court in Bryson City. This event really set the stage for his anti-government beliefs. It was after having witnessed his friend, his father figure, this neighbor who means a lot to him, have his property raided by agents. They're going through all of his stuff. They've arrested him. They're seizing items.
Basically removed him from...
In his teenage mind,
yeah.
He's like, this is fucking horrible.
This is what he's been telling me about the whole time. This overreaching government. He's took this man and removed him from my life, basically, right? As a young man, in Eric's viewpoint. And this is exactly what he's talking about.
And he has a right to bear arms. If he wants that machine gun, he can have it.
They're coming to get us.
Yeah.
We all got to be scared. Here's a prime example of it. So could you imagine what's going through Eric's mind at that point?
When Pat realized her kids were not receiving the kind of education she believed they deserved, in 1984, she took her family to Shell City, Missouri, where they joined the Christian Identity movement led by Dan Gaiman.
Wow, that sounds like a really open-minded movement.
The family lived in a trailer owned by the church and began receiving a Christian education. And I say that loosely. Eric fell in love with a girl named Joy. Now, this is something that I find very interesting about Eric Rudolph. I had to share it with you guys. She knitted him a sweater, which he maintained as a prized possession. He can actually be seen wearing it in one of his mugshot photos.
Wow.
And when he was eventually located, which we'll get to with the story here, it was one of the few items that he had with him when he was on the run.
So they found like some personal items that were wrapped.
Really meant something to him.
And kept away.
That were secured. And this was one of the items. Was the
wow.
sweater that had been knitted by this woman 20 years or so before.
Okay, so she definitely left a mark on him, right?
By 1985, the Rudolph family was kicked out of the church, which seems like that'd be kind of hard to do.
Well, I don't
know.
Well, maybe if you just acted normal, they kick you out of the church. Yeah.
Joy broke up with Eric, and some years later, she committed suicide and took her 2 young children with her as well. When Eric learned of this suicide, he was deeply devastated by this. He never quite recovered from his unrequited love.
Well, that's pretty sad that she would take her own life and that of her 2 children. I mean,
well, if you read up on the Christian Identity movement, they just seem like they got some pretty fucked up views. So I guess, like, if you're part of that,
maybe it makes more sense.
Well, I was just thinking,
kids?
Well, shit, if I was in the middle of this fucking crazy cult, I'd probably shoot myself too, but...
And your kids.
Well, they have some really out there views about race and, I don't know.
Okay.
Homosexuality. And,
oh, gosh.
Damn
queers is coming to get us all.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, they're like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like any other...
One of those,
it's a cult, guys.
It's an extremist.
It's a cult. It's a cult.
Religion.
Let's be honest. It's just another form of a cult.
There's not a whole lot of Christianity going on.
No.
This is a lot of, like, hate happening in this group. I feel like if you grew up in that, it could explain why you might blow your brains out.
And kill your kids.
Because it's because you've been fucking brainwashed
right.
into some fucking
because
shit.
You're not there to shepherd them through this horrible times that we're in with all the brown and not white people and all the right?
I guess.
Okay.
Eric got his GED, as I mentioned before, and enrolled at Western Carolina University, where he was an undeclared major for about a year before he dropped out of school. Western Carolina had not been Eric's first choice. He had applied to Purdue, but was rejected. They had told him that perhaps he should try a community college for a semester or 2, bring his grades up, get more, like advanced math and that kind of thing.
Get a little bit less racist.
That he wasn't getting, I guess, when he got his GED.
Right.
more of the college preparatory types of
So
classes.
basically, try a little bit, reapply, and he was like,